Are you ready, kids? Get your parents' permission, check your mailbox, and grab your shopping cart. It's time for the Adventures in Collecting podcast.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Dave. Welcome to Adventures in Collecting, where we talk toy news, culture, and hauls,
along with our journeys as collectors. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Adventures in Collecting.
Hi.
Dave, we're back.
Yeah.
We're always back. We're back every week.
Mm-hmm.
Been doing this for 5 years now. We're always back. Is anyone ever surprised that we're back?
I'm sure, but
I know I was for a while, but now it's like,
yeah, we're not, but I'm
yeah.
sure somebody is.
Maybe. So we, as is usually the case, we do have a guest with us this evening that we'll intro in just a couple minutes here, but a little bit of housekeeping, Adventures in Collecting housekeeping. So first up, we are just 2 weeks out from New York Toy Fair. Oh my goodness.
Not even less. On airtime it'll be a week.
Oh yeah, geez. Yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be a packed weekend. I know I speak on behalf of both of us of how excited we are for the show. This is something that is near and dear to us. I would go as far as to say it's my favorite like toy industry show thing that we go to.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we are
and now we know how to navigate it as opposed to year one.
Yeah, like
which was like week 2 of the podcast.
Yeah, this is a full circle moment for us in a lot of ways because we have appointments for everything. Like we're like buttoned up, we're booked,
organized.
We're organized. We've got basically like a spreadsheet with booth numbers. But long story short, the reason why I'm bringing this up is we are going to be providing a ton of coverage March 1st and 2nd. And we're going to do this in a couple different ways. So there's going to be lots of photos. So make sure that you're following us on social at AIC_podcast. That's number one. So we're going to be posting there as quickly as we can, as often as we can. 2, if you're watching this on YouTube, hey, how's it going? Thanks for watching. We will be posting videos as well as quickly as we can. So booth tours, on floor interviews, we're going to bring what we need to shoot and edit those things kind of like in the moment. So we're going to try to get them to you with the latest news from, all of the brands that you collect and love. We're going to try to get you that information as quickly as humanly possible. As it stands, we have I think it's something like 10 or 11 booth tours booked with, potential interview opportunities. So there's going to be a lot of content. And then there's going to be a wrap up podcast at the end of the weekend. So
and we'll also be walking about. So we might.
Yeah,
there's always time for everything.
Yep. So definitely stay tuned for that. Also on social media, our February giveaway is still alive. As of recording or as of air, you have just the rest of this week to enter. So this month we're giving away, as a reminder, our friends at Savage Crucible provided us with a Veritas Rapax. Who is their Bloody I'm calling it the Bloody Valentine variant. They're not calling it that, but that's the February tie-in. But super cool bloodied up lizard warrior guy. I've actually got one right here. So if you're watching on YouTube, it's this guy. He's super awesome. He's covered in blood. He's got a cool Battle Cat colorway to him with the greens and oranges, articulated jaw, all of that good stuff. So you could take home one of these, and it's free to enter. You just got to follow us on social media. Look for that pinned post at AIC_podcast on Instagram. And then in March, we'll be announcing a new giveaway. So we try to do one every month. So
I was gonna say that's not all we got going on in March, Eric.
Yeah, and in March we are recording. I guess we could technically say our third because we had an impromptu second live show.
Yeah, I guess that was like a test run.
But yeah, we'll be back at ZapCon Saturday, March 29th.
Of which that audience at Chubsy's was very attentive. They
Yeah,
were hella attentive.
it
Like
was.
it got quiet real quick. Everybody started watching. We were like, whoa.
Yeah, was not expecting that. Was kind of expecting
No.
just to kind of like pull Steve to the side, but yeah. If in case you didn't watch or listen to that, definitely check that out. We sat down with Steve Evans from the Hasbro team, from our friends at Chubsy Wubsy Toys in Little Falls, New Jersey. Yeah, we sat down at the store, talked to him, but uh on March 29th, we're doing another live show.
Hmm.
So we'll be at ZapCon in Wayne, New Jersey. Tickets are $10. You can go to zapconnj.com to get your tickets. The live show will feature returning guests and friends of the pod from our friends at NECA, Blaine and Chris Ramo.
Yeah.
They will be talking about design, both toys, packaging, art, all that good stuff. And maybe they'll have some surprises from NECA to kind of show off. So
Yeah. Come celebrate the day after my birthday.
yes, yeah,
Uh,
we can all sing to Dave. It'll be great.
I'll bring hats. It'll be fun.
Are you promising punch and pie too? Or
No,
just hats? Just
I
hats?
got to figure out where I can find hats these days.
Yeah. Yeah, not Party City. That's for sure.
No.
Yeah, but so yeah, March 29th. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we've got a busy month ahead of us. But I think that pretty much takes care of
Yeah, I would say
the
that the house has been kept.
Oh wait, no, actually I
Oh,
lied. One more thing. March is also we have committed to it. The massive undertaking. The list has been solidified. We've gotten fan input. Marvel Legends March Madness
oh,
returns for a second year. So Marvel Legends March Madness is returning this year. It was one of the most engaged with things we have ever done, which still blows my mind. But yeah, we're gonna do that again. We've got 64 Marvel characters that have either never had a figure or are desperately in need for a refresh. But yeah, we've got 64 characters ready to go. Single elimination, randomly seeded tournament. Yeah, so look for that. I don't think we have a hard date just yet, but I would say sometime after Toy Fair because I don't think I want to manage that while we're trying to cover
should do
Toy.
it during the tournament. Like,
Yeah, maybe we'll do that. Yeah, when March Madness actually
yeah,
starts. Yeah,
but we won't have a four weird playing games. Like all
sports.
the schools are in.
Yes, all the schools of Marvel characters. All right, but yeah, that's enough of housekeeping. So, TLDR, follow us at AIC underscore podcast on Instagram. You'll see everything there. So all the things. So with that, I think it's time for me to grab that shovel, Dave.
Yeah, we don't want to bury the lead since the house has been kept.
House has been kept,
The
shovel in
leads can
hand.
be unburied.
So this week's guest, returning guest, we're really excited to have him back. Mark Morse is a true industry veteran with nearly 20 years under his belt across a variety of companies from Mattel and Super 7 to MGA. While we know him best from his nostalgia-fueled work over at Plastic Meatball, today we're here to talk about his new role as Vice President and Global Brand Lead for Wheels and Action over at Spin Master. Mark, welcome back to Adventures in Collecting.
Thanks so much, guys. It's great to be here, and that intro just made me feel so old and ancient.
Well, you look young and spry and ready to rip, so
Yeah.
don't feel old. You're in the toy industry, man. Like
Mhm.
you're as old as you feel.
That's
And
right. That's not as old as you look. Right.
Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
We're really excited about this new role. Spin Master is a brand that or a company that has brought a bunch of toy lines that Dave and I love very
Mhm.
dearly to life over the last couple of years, or at least
Yeah.
since we've been doing this podcast. So
Yeah.
Seen it grow a bunch. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of 4-inch Batman figures.
Me too.
Good. I'm glad to hear. I'm excited for you guys to get back to Toy Fair. What was the first year that you went?
2020.
So, funny thing.
Ground zero for
Oh,
COVID in the United
yeah.
States. Yeah, nice job, guys.
Yep, we were at the big old super spreader event.
Yep. Oh man.
Yeah, and then we went back, we got to go again in 2023, which was like it
Toy
was
Fair light.
interesting.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
everybody was just kind of cautiously dipping their toe back in the pond and seeing how it was going to go. This is going to be a big show this year.
Yeah, it sure seems
Yeah,
like
it's
it.
looking like a lot of fun.
So, yeah, we're really excited. And you guys will be there. Are you going?
Yeah.
I will be there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
You have an appointment for the booth?
We sure do.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
We sure do. So since you were last on the show, quite a bit has changed in your career. Tell us a little bit more about what you're actually doing over there at Spin Master.
Quite a bit has changed. The main thing is that now I have health insurance. That's the main thing, right? When you're doing your own sort of thing on the side, it's you're kind of putting it all out there. But now there's some security, which my wife and daughter are very happy about. But no, it's great. I joined back in April here at Spin, leading the Wheels and Action Division, as you said. And it's been like muscle memory. Looking back at my past career in Mattel and MGA and some of the bigger companies, and just getting back in. Like I started my career with Hot Wheels, so and I worked on Monster Jam when I was on Hot Wheels. So now I'm overseeing Monster Jam again, and to see how far it's come in such a short space of time with what the Spin team has done here has been amazing. And then to also be overseeing the DC portfolio and How to Train Your Dragon and Sony and all the great things that we're doing on the action figure side is a lot of fun too.
So, before we jump into the world of DC, something near and dear to my heart as a PlayStation fan, let's talk about the PlayStation Shapes line.
Yeah.
The first waves of figures are out and have really kind of pushed into some newer territory for Spin Master with that like super high articulated, high deco, I guess 6-7 inch, somewhere in that ballpark line. What's different about these figures from Spin Master's other offerings?
I think you just oh, okay. Sorry, I saw your note.
All good.
Yeah. What's different about these? I think you just said it, actually. I think most of what Action Play at Spin has been focused on is kid and mass. And this is very much targeting an adult collector, a fan of these games. And the articulation on these things is insane. I mean, articulated hair on Aloy. It's a level of detail that we haven't really done here before, and that's why we wanted to do it, was to show what our capabilities are, because we know, but the fans don't know, and quite honestly, a lot of the other licensors weren't aware of what we were actually able to do. So it was a great way for us to work with an amazing partner with Sony. So many different characters to play with there across their portfolio of games, and just really lean into it and show the industry what we could do.
Yeah, and you mentioned the articulated hair on Aloy, and that was the one thing that kind of blew me away. Because usually you don't really see that on domestic toys, right? Like every now and then you'll get like an articulated ponytail on a character, whether it's in like wrestling or superhero, right? Yeah. But like the way that you could kind of stack the different articulated pieces of the hair and make it look like it was flowing is something that typically is reserved for like an import level toy.
Very Asia Pacific, yeah. But what we did was we just let the designers go crazy. It was like, guys, you've been sort of stuck in this tiny box for a while for mass production. Now, like, let loose. What would you do if you could do anything, right? And what they came back with was just amazing.
So what does the future look like for the Shapes line now that we've had this kind of initial offering out there?
Yeah, we're discussing it. The performance was, we weren't sure what it would be, but it was better than we expected it to be. As we look at sort of what we put in our budget for the year versus how it performed. It performed very well. So we're talking with Sony about what other projects are that we could do, whether it's to that high of a standard, unknown. I think one of the things that interests us right now, and we have actually had some preliminary discussions with them, is around Astrobot and what we could do there. I think that could be a lot of fun to sort of go in another direction where it's a little bit more novelty and kidult as opposed to high end. So I think we want to use this relationship to show the great range that we can do in that collector space.
Yeah, and there's especially in that game, there's like so many nods to the going back even to PlayStation 1, like
Yeah,
it's just almost like the Astrobot character itself is leads into just opening so many doors for what you can do.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like
it's a really cool template to be able to put some of the other IP on top of.
yes, Sackboy walked so Astrobot could run.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what a game too, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the lines that has brought us the most joy over the past few years, as we spoke about earlier, the 4-inch Cape Crusader and DC Heroes lines at Spin Master. But it's been a little while since we've seen new waves. Is there any update that you can provide?
I can, yeah. When we started our relationship with DC, we were very much sort of confined to that 4-inch scale. The opinion at the time was that that's kid, and anything larger than that is purely collector, and that's why you saw a lot of that coming from the McFarlane side. But we looked at the industry trends. We worked with our partners at Warner Brothers, and we got them to open the door to let us play with scale. So we're actually moving away from 4-inch, and now we're going to be focused on more of a 6-inch execution that you're going to be seeing. The first time will be with the Superman movie this summer,
Okay.
and then that will move into Batman as well into the fall with a new theme that we have for Batman. The 12-inch will continue. I think the 12-inch figures are just a great value. We get to go deep with some characters in the 12-inch that I think you normally wouldn't see. Just because for $9.99 we've got the luxury of being able to take a few risks. So that's going to continue to be fun. But 4-inch is going to be sort of relegated to more of a retro program, which I think you've seen to a degree with the Batman Forever line that's at Target.
Yeah, and that's a great segue. But shouts to those 12-inch figures too, because
Mm-hmm.
I always make the case as a girl dad. You know, my girls love the doll offering that's out there right now. They love the Monster High, obviously Barbie, stuff like that. But those 12-inch superhero figures, like they love those characters too, and they can
Yeah,
have Batman and Robin and Harley Quinn and Joker and Superman uh scale up with their dolls,
yeah,
and that's
Mm-hmm.
how they play with them. Like
yeah.
right now in my living room, sitting in a pink coupe is Harley Quinn and a Monster High doll. So
That's
you
pretty
know,
awesome.
yeah, they love that scale. And across the board, and every company that makes those 12-inch figures, whether it's you guys with the DC ones, whether it's the Marvel ones that are out
Yep.
there, whether it's even the like Dragon Ball Z and anime characters, I always tell everyone, like, keep plugging away at them, because
Yeah.
they're awesome. They really are
It's
awesome.
great to see how that caught on here in the States. That was when I was at Mattel, I was on Max Steel for a while, which was huge,
Yeah.
huge in South America.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that 12-inch sort of Action Man scale. And then I think it was Hasbro that sort of imported that over to Marvel and brought it domestically. And then all the other toy companies were like, okay, cool, it's a great value play at $10, uh, uh, just to get a wide variety of characters and a nice hefty figure for a little kid.
Yeah. So, you mentioned before, kind of the transition from a 4-inch figure to more of a 5-inch retro style figure, and I actually happen to have a
Oh
little certain something here.
yeah,
So the Batman Forever line. Tell us a little bit about how this this tribute line came to be here to and why you guys started with Batman Forever.
It's a great question, and a great story. The buyer at Target is a huge fan of this particular toy line that Kenner did back in what, '95.
Yeah, 95, 96, yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and he approached us and said, "I want an exclusive program. I want you to redo those toys." And it was like, yeah, okay, sure. It's the anniversary year. We can certainly lean into that. We can do nods to the original packaging, nods to the original figures. He just loved it so much. He's younger than me, and I think that was like his Star Wars. Like that was the toy line he grew up with. And just like all of us that are into that sort of thing, you want to relive your childhood. So being able for him to work closely with us and bring that line exclusively to his shelves, I think was really a important moment for him. So we were happy to do it. We're blown away by the response. I go into all the Targets in the area. I haven't seen any of them on shelf.
So I got to tell you, as somebody who still has his original, these
Yeah.
are these are mine from when I was
Hmm.
from 1995. One of my favorite toy lines of all time. I've still got a
It's a
few of them.
real good.
Like
It was a great line.
Yeah,
you guys crushed it. The
yeah.
barrel chest, the
Hmm.
like the
That mid
proportions of the head.
'90s accentuated masculinity. Yeah,
Yep. And I love the added articulation in it.
yeah,
Like that's the one thing, the added articulation in the shoulders and the soft goods cape. But
The
like,
soft cape so he could sit in the Batmobile.
I
yeah,
mean, the first thing that I did was as soon as I got my hands on these, I was like, I held it right up to
yeah,
the old like
Hmm.
Val Kilmer Bruce Wayne, and I was like, oh man, here we go. Like
yeah,
we're cooking.
yeah. No, they did a really great job, and for me, it's the value. It's so accessible, right?
Oh
That
yeah.
Hmm.
Batmobile is $20. That's as much. That's cheaper than a reaction figure.
Yeah, and this thing's ridiculous. I keep moving my head out of the way because
Yeah,
the tail fin is so
Hmm.
massive. But like, yeah, the translucent blue plastic underneath. It's working wheels. Even like the deco inside. It's kind of hard to see, but like even like the deco inside the cockpit. This thing is awesome, 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 awesome.
thank you. Yeah, the design team did an amazing job.
Yeah,
So
it's
really
such a
happy.
great line. Um, so you mentioned it briefly before, but there is the new kind of direction DC Studios is going, um, with Superman being the first film coming out from James Gunn. You said there are plans to support the film. Is it just going to be stuff from like the new movie, or is there the opportunity to go kind of backwards in time too for previous Superman
Oh, there's
movies?
always opportunity, Dave. Always opportunity. Yeah. Um, all of that stuff is under embargo now. You guys will have the benefit of seeing it next week,
Oh, okay.
when you come
Okay.
on through. But I don't think you'll be able to videotape anything. It will just sort of be some inside baseball. But yeah, we have a full line. We're the master toy licensee for the movie. Full line of figures, feature figures, um, some really cool innovation that you're going to see in the line. We're excited about it. All of the behind scenes stuff that we've seen that the public hasn't seen yet, um, mind blowing. It's going to be a great movie, I think, and it has James Gunn's signature all over it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that trailer. So first of all, I'm not a big like Superman guy. Like
No,
never have been. I mean, as a kid, I love Christopher Reeve's Superman.
Hmm.
I actually really like the I always pronounce the name wrong. Schleicher
Fleischer,
cartoons. Yeah,
Yeah,
Fleischer.
yeah,
Fleischer.
the
Fleischer.
1940s
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
Hmm.
I remember picking up, VHSs from like five and dime stores as a kid, like, and getting those kind of
styling in that was
yeah,
so elegant. Yeah,
Hmm.
really was. But when I think of Superman, obviously I think of kind of those bright colors and everything. And, you know, what Zack Snyder did with the DC universe was successful, maybe not for everybody, but seeing the the trailer for James Gunn's Superman, it's like this is
Mhm.
like this
Yeah,
looks like
it
Superman.
feels like the old like you will believe a man can fly type of.
Sure does.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm and with that, as somebody who
And
has always associated these properties with toys, I'm so excited
yeah,
Yeah.
to
and
see
finally
what's
seeing
coming
that
with it.
trailer, like full disclosure, went to see Captain America. That trailer played. Like seeing that trailer on a big screen
Yeah.
is like, yeah, this is hitting. Like this trailer hits.
Well, and they
Yep.
were so smart too with the sort of the twist on the John Williams music
Yep.
during
Hmm.
the trailer. It's not the main cue that everybody knows. It's a little bit more of a deeper cut, but it's still familiar, And
hmm
I think they hit all the right notes with that trailer.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
It feels so weird for me to be so excited for a Superman movie, but I really am.
Hmm.
Like honestly and truly, as I'm so excited for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't read it much until high school when everybody did, when like Doomsday started hitting and all that stuff. But like, yeah, this is what you think of Superman being.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
So unfortunately, I don't have one of the cards here with me, but the cards that these the Batman Forever figures came on, there
Hmm.
was a hint on the back of them that said something about Superman. Oh yeah, there's Robin, awesome. On the back, it references something about Superman. On the cross cell.
Is there? Oh, yeah, there is.
So I was just curious: is that a reference to the movie, or is that a reference to potentially something else?
Well, it's in a retro package. I don't know.
All right,
Hmm.
the mystery continues.
Yeah.
So, that
I was gonna
actually,
say the other thing about those too, those Batman Forever, like anybody can get in. It's a four-figure wave. Like
oh yeah,
you've got the everybody you need. Like again, talking about value, like you're in for pretty fair price to get that whole thing,
I think what
get
they're
get that whole
8.99.
series.
They're $8.99 at Target, I believe.
yep,
Hmm.
So you're in for under $40 plus a $20 Batmobile. They've got the entire line for under $60. It's insane.
yeah, that really is insane.
Hmm.
And that's honestly one of the things that has that kind of drew me to um the 4-inch Batman line
Yeah.
initially was
Yeah, me too.
like it's like okay, you get a bunch of cool accessories, you have a chance at like there's is like a blind unboxing situation here, like a chance at like a rare piece. There was actually like those chase hunts for the actual figures themselves, which was a lot of
Yep.
fun. But like same thing, it's like or at one point I think when they were $7.99 when they
Yep.
first came out, right?
Hmm.
And it's like $7.99. The Batcave and Gotham playset works as an awesome display piece to like put them all out on there. The character selection got super deep.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hmm.
unfortunately, as much as I'm excited to see what you guys have coming up next, there were a couple of characters I was really hoping we would get in
Yeah.
that line,
Yeah.
but some pretty like key Batman villains, Two-Face,
See, when I
Penguin,
was like,
Poison
oh,
Ivy.
Firefly, yeah, like,
Yeah, like super cool, character selection. But that kind of theme runs across Spin Masters. Like there is a lot of value, even when you guys were doing those League of Legends figures.
Yeah.
Like going back, like those figures were
Mhm.
super cool.
Yeah. Which was really, I think, our first foray into more of a collector
Yeah,
type execution. Yeah.
but
No,
really,
it's what the company's known for. They are great at designing for manufacturing and finding efficiencies because they're such an engineer mentality when they're designing these things. So they're able to find cost efficiencies that other designers maybe wouldn't be able to come up with. So I think that's how we're able to really deliver that value to the consumer.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
This segment is brought to you by our friends at Chubsy Wubsy Toys, a traditional mom and pop toy store in Little Falls, New Jersey. Chubsy Wubsy Toys brings you the best new toys from the brands you love without the hassle of pounding the pavement searching for them at larger retail stores. Visit them in person at their brand new home at 101 Newark Pompton Turnpike, Suite 1 in Little Falls, New Jersey, or online at chubsywubsy.com. That's CHUBZZYWUBZZY.com. And tell them Adventures in Collecting sent you.
And now, back to the show.
Now, but before we head into our Q&A section here, and we actually, normally we pick like one or two questions for like featured Q&A, but when we announced you were coming on the show, we have never gotten more submitted Q&A questions.
It blew up, yeah.
Yeah, it was, there are a lot of people that have a lot of questions about, and I think just kind of going through the ones that we did pick here, we ended up going with 4, which is literally double the amount that we normally. Lots of people asked similar questions, so we did kind of combine some things. But we did answer a couple of them already. But before we head into there, you did mention at the top How to Train Your Dragon. So
Yes.
that new trailer came out, the live action, which looks astounding.
Yeah.
Are there plans also to to support the release of that?
Complete full line of product for that, across different scales, all the dragons, all the Vikings and main characters, role play. If
Awesome.
you want to become toothless, you can become toothless. Vaporizer technology. It's a really, really exciting line. We're stoked for that one. Spin has been with Universal and the How to Train Your Dragon franchise since the first movie, and have supported it for every release, and I believe the majority of the animated series that have come out in between. But this line is something, and you will be able to show this one off, I think, at New York Toy Fair. So
awesome.
There will be a follow-up where I think you can see these products. These are not, some are under embargo, but we're able to reveal some during the show.
Very cool. Yeah, very much so looking forward to that. So, Dave, remind our followers, our listeners, our viewers, how can they, as we head into our featured Q&A section here, how can they participate in future Q&As here on Adventures in Collecting?
So, usually the weekend before we record, we'll post who our next guest is. And in this case, it was Mark, and we had a little story up that said, "Do you have questions for Mark?" And you can tap on the little dialogue box in that story, at AIC_podcast, of course, and type in the questions. So, you can, taking a page out of the Albert Brooks book here, you can ask a question, and you can ask a question, and you can ask a question.
That is a very, very deep cut.
Yes, seriously.
For real life.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you've seen a 3D trailer
oh my God,
on YouTube or on DVD, you will understand that reference.
All the Google Analytics people are going to be like, why is there a sudden surge for Albert Brooks searches?
Why is there a sudden surge in the real life trailer?
Which, by the way, if I know the majority of people listening have not seen real life, you need to see real life.
What a movie.
It is such a great movie. So ahead of its time.
For
Albert
real.
Brooks created meta,
before there was such a thing.
Yeah. In the late 70s, early 80s. That's... And Charles Grodin's in it. You can't go wrong. So when you send in a question, we get to see it, and we can make it a featured question or one of many featured questions. You can also call and leave a message. There's right now just the rest of the skeleton left. There's just the skeleton left his hand on the receiver.
Yeah, I don't have the number ready. Hang on, wait. I'll pull
either.
it open. So yeah, we do have a hotline, and this is where I'm vamping as I pull up the number for the hotline.
And you can call that hotline and leave a question, and maybe one of these times we'll put like your recorded question. You can hear yourself broadcast throughout the world, and Eric's going to tell you where to call.
Yeah. So the number is 1-973-750-8256. You can either call or text that number.
Yes, texting does work.
And you can submit a question for a guest. You could submit a question for us. We are banking some questions that are directed just at us for a mailbag episode. And shouts to the couple people that did leave us
People
questions
left
for
mailbag questions. Oh, that
mailbag.
rules.
So we're getting there. We're getting
Mhm.
there, Dave. We're getting there. All right. So with all that, let's head into Q&A. Now, Mark, a couple of these questions we did sort of answer, but we'll attach some Instagram handles to some questions here and like make sure that voices are heard.
Everyone's credited. Yes.
And we'll if we have already answered these, it might be a little repetitive here, but we want to make sure that your questions, the way that you ask them, are getting answered. So
or we can throw some follow up. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll talk about it here. So
like a very New Jersey here with the hands.
I will say a lot of these questions are around 4-inch DC Batman figures, which
3/4 of the questions
where. But we'll throw it out here. So our first one comes from friend of the pod, love at Mile High Ground on Instagram. With the switch from 4-inch to 5-inch retro figures, are there any plans for future 4-inch DC movie figures in the future?
Yes. So let's be clear. I think Batman Forever retro figures are 5-inch because the Kenner
Yep.
Batman Forever figures were 5-inch. As we look at continuing the retro line, which we are doing, they will be size appropriate for the era that movie came out in. So there is opportunity for 3 3/4, 4-inch retro style. There's opportunity for larger scale retro style. But I would say that the more kid-focused Batman line that I would, what you were referring to earlier, that's been around for a few years, that's moving to 6-inch. But we're looking at more of a retro approach for the smaller scale.
Cool. Yeah.
I actually have a follow-up that I just thought of.
Go ahead,
Will
Dave.
that that kind of chase element from the 3 3/4 inch figures be part of the new 6-inch style?
Probably not the same way. I can tell you for the next wave, we did incorporate a chase into it that I think fans will be excited about.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And actually, we totally forgot to mention it, but those absolutely gorgeous. It was a Batman Returns Batman on a retro
Batman
card,
85.
and Bane from the Dark Knight Rises. Those
Yes.
were gorgeous figures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think working on those was kind of the inspiration to go down that road a little bit more. Those turned out great. That was for Batman's 85th anniversary to sort of celebrate the whole franchise. That was very Batman focused, and we're taking a more holistic DC approach. There will be, don't get me wrong, there will be more Batman and Batman universe characters incorporated into this, but we're trying to look at each individual entertainment property as its own sort of small capsule.
Got it.
Nice.
Dave, do you want to ask the next one?
Yes, I apologize in advance.
Oh, this handle, and I promise this is spelled right too. Like I made sure like 3 or 4 different times that this. Try breaking it up.
I am so sorry in advance. I'm gonna go with Sabukin Slab Ink.
That's exactly the way that I would have done it too. So,
hopefully I got that. If not, feel free to just loop it on your your account and like make fun of
Evis-
me, but
eviscerate him in the comments.
that's the best I'm probably gonna get on that one. But anyway, they ask, are there plans for any role play items like masks or capes?
Yes to both.
Awesome.
I,
Yeah.
There you go.
I wonder what property coming out would utilize a cape.
Yeah. I
Hmm.
wonder. I can't think of anything. It'd be really cool if there was like a superhero with like a really cool red cape.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything.
Oh, and if he could bend a metal bar.
Hmm. Has a really sweet dog.
I was just thinking about how many people are going to be putting capes on their dogs this Halloween.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of. There's gonna be
As
a lot
they
of
should.
crypto cosplaying happening. All right, so this next one. So at B-Man Brandon's Toys asks, the 4-inch DC line reuses a lot of sculpts. Are there plans to introduce any new ones?
Yes.
There we go.
I love these one-word answers. They're great.
Mhm.
No, I think, like I said, you'll see them, but more in a retro style as opposed to the sort of super articulated ones that we've done in the past. In my mind, this is just personal preference. I feel like the multiple points of articulation at that scale is really hard to pull off, and it just doesn't feel as sturdy of a figure to me. So I don't think you're going to see as much articulation at that scale moving forward because again, we're treating it more like a retro approach.
Yeah, and I mean, like,
Mhm.
You have a particular affinity too for
I do.
that end of things.
Yeah.
Which is definitely helpful in your role. Bringing
Mhm.
that kind of affinity into this, and there are so many iconic. I mean, just look at the superpowers line. How far
Yeah,
that's being pushed now,
yeah,
and we're getting like the Batman who laughs as a superpowers figure. So it's
Mhm.
just it's
Which is wild.
yeah,
but that retro aesthetic, whether it's superpowers figures, whether it's, I mean, you see it everywhere on the shelves.
yeah.
Mhm.
Super 7, McFarlane, there are so many companies, that even Hasbro, there are so many companies out there that are still um at retail, at mass market, that are
Yeah.
producing these retro inspired products.
Mhm.
And there's
There's a
Mattel.
market for it. We all just want to relive our childhoods, right? And get
Mhm.
the toys we couldn't get when we were that age. And if
Yep.
they existed, that we can't afford now. So,
Yep.
Or even now, it with that with a fresh coat of paint and with like catching up to kind of where time left off for them.
yeah, yeah,
That's the big thing for me. Like, I love when these lines continue, right? Like, it's
Mhm.
like, okay, I'm gonna show it again, but like, I still have my original Kenner Batman Forever figures. Like, if you guys made like a Chase Meridian, I would literally lose my mind.
I
Like,
know.
Mhm.
I had so many figures that I would just kind of put like masking tape over and like pretend that it's Chase Meridian, but having like those characters, Jim Gordon, just,
Sugar and spice from that. Like,
yeah, oh my
Yeah,
god, it'd be so
yeah,
good.
yeah. No, I mean, if it really resonated and we were able to go as deep as we want to go, I mean, like the sugar and spice would be amazing. Like that's a great 2-pack or a convention exclusive or something like that. There's
Yep.
so much equity in these tentpole movies from the past.
Yeah.
also, Batman Forever is way better than everyone remembers.
No, it's not.
Hey, so that movie is, it's terrible. Like, I admit that it's,
I like it, but
I love it, but that doesn't mean that it's good.
Right.
I love it for like what it was when I was the perfect age when that movie came out. Like, every
soundtrack
single
ripped.
soundtrack, the
The
marketing
You
soundtrack's
tie-ins,
too.
great.
You had
the Burger King glasses, like
The Burger
every
King, yeah, McDonald's actually.
or McDonald's. That's right,
Yeah.
McDonald's glasses. Um, but all of the different like tie-ins and just kind of like I can literally still feel myself sitting in that theater like when the credits roll and like U2 starts playing. Like I can remember all of those like
Yeah,
feelings,
yeah,
and the toys take me right, but like as
yeah.
soon as I open that Batmobile, which by the way, other thing that was really cool
Yeah,
about
the
that
Offspring were
Batmobile,
on that soundtrack. The Flaming Lips, like that soundtrack is still great.
this was the first time, and I actually looked this up. This is the first time that a Batmobile actually
Seal was on that.
actually shipped with Batman sitting in the Batmobile.
Yeah.
It is the first time that that has ever happened, and when I tell you the joy and surprise in the like 10-year-old inside my body when I was like,
Hmm.
oh, there's like, because I'm looking for like the little baggie, because the cockpit was closed, so I'm looking for the little baggie where like usually your pack and figure sits, and I'm like, oh man, did I get like an error and like Batman's not in there, and then I just opened the cockpit and I was just like, "Ee."
Hmm.
There he is, just sitting there.
Good,
Yeah,
good.
so good. So good. Love it.
Well,
But
it's
again,
like
wrap
I
your
was
head
gonna
around
say,
that for a minute, right? That's an
yeah.
$8.99 figure inside of that Batmobile that's sold to you for $20.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't
It
know how much money we're losing on this, but someone needs to be fired.
Not you. Just
Not
not
me.
you.
Not
Not
me.
you.
Well,
Um,
to quote Eric, your my oldest niece, your oldest daughter, from when you guys were putting together the Batcave. Every Batcave needs a Batman.
yeah.
So does every Batmobile.
Every Batmobile needs a Batman. Yeah. And I love that it was a different Batman too. It's not the
Yes,
it's the sonar suit from the end of the movie, so it's the silver.
which really plays into the variance of every Batman that could be made, that ever was made, that wasn't even in the movie for the line. Like,
Oh,
Day
I'm
glow scuba, right?
this is never far. Arctic Batman is never far from my desk. The dumbest bat suit that has ever
mhm.
existed. The complete opposite of everything that Batman should be. A stark white.
Yeah.
Well, there was the gold one. There was like a green
Yeah,
one.
it looks like a neon orange or something.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, there was.
There's camo. Like
But
they had.
and that was another thing that was really great about that 4-inch line was like you guys made like every Batman under, under the
Hmm.
sun in every colorway
Yeah.
Yup.
Yeah.
with a clip-on armor pieces. It literally like I love the way that you're approaching the like play aspect of Batman because
Well,
there's just
you're gonna see that at the 6 inch too, because we know that accessories matter, especially to kids, right? So the guys have come up with a really cool thing with a sprue kit, which I think we've used before in some of the 4 inch line. But that's going to translate over to the 6 inch line as well. So you're still going to get those armor pieces that you can snap on. You're still going to get a great assortment of weapons and things. And for an extension to the line, you're also going to get actual action features, right?
okay.
So the core
Nice.
line at 6 inches is going to be $9.99, but then we have a feature extension, same scale, but with punching action and things like that. So we're bringing the action back to the action play.
So
You
cool.
know what I think too was low key one of the best parts of that line was the little like map or poster that you got where
Oh
you could
yeah.
check off like, oh no wait, I got this part, I got this part. I actually used it. Like it was
Yeah,
great.
it's a good
I
checklist. Yeah.
I saved one from so in the bin that I have them all like organized in. I saved one checklist per wave, like one fold out insert per wave, so that way I could like go back and look at all of them again.
Yeah.
Well, I saved one that I used actively, and then I had like one folded up that could
You
be.
you actually drew on one, you monster. Just kidding. Well, Mark, with that takes us to the end of our Q&A. As we like to say, you survived an Adventures in
Yes.
Q&A.
Oh,
We don't have a
twice.
fun T-shirt or anything to give you, but when we see you at Toy
Yes.
Fair, we'll make sure we'll give you a pin.
Oh
We've got
yeah.
buttons, so we'll make sure we get you a pin.
I'll
Yeah, we
wear
don't
But
have the
a shirt
jacket like
again.
Saturday Night Live, but
coasters, didn't we say we were going to do coasters at some point? We're
I
gonna do
thought that was
yeah,
the yeah.
yeah. But as is tradition on the show, we do have a final question that we ask all of our guests. Since you are a returning guest, we have a different final question for you. So, Dave, would you like
remind me again, though, what's the standard question?
the standard question is what is your favorite and/or strangest piece in your collection?
Okay. What did I
And
say
you-
last time?
Oh my goodness. I have 2 children. My brain
Yeah,
no work.
I don't remember either, but there's a lot.
Yeah.
All right, what's
And
the
this-
new question?
So, Dave, would you like to fulfill your role as this podcast's James Lipton and ask our new final question?
Why, yes, I would. And I just realized I don't have to get close to the mic. Since you answered our standard final question on your first appearance on the pod, we have prepared a special question for you based off of a suggestion from friend of the pod at Toy Farce on Instagram. If you could snap your fingers and bring any DC character to a Spin Master action figure line, who would it be and why?
Any DC character. I'm going to go a little bit further than just a character.
Okay.
I would love to see, and this isn't a tease because you're not going to see it, but I would love to see a Wes Craven Swamp Thing action figure.
Whoa.
I would love to see that
Whoa.
too.
That movie, I was, 8, 9 years old, and that was on HBO on repeat. And there was just so much that was intriguing but disturbing to me at that age.
Yeah.
The little piggy troll guy at the end chopping off an arm and it grows back because he got his hand in the sunlight. I would love to see that.
Wow. I need to rewatch that movie. It's been a long time.
Yeah, you're amazed at who's in it too. Like you're like, wow, Ray Wise from Twin Peaks is technically Swamp Thing. That's amazing. Like,
Yeah, there are so many people in that movie. I remember we had that taped off of
No,
HBO.
the second we had the sequel
The sequel.
with
with Heather Locklear.
Oh, that's the one I'm thinking of. That's the one.
Yeah,
I'm
the
thinking
original. It's Adrian Barbeau.
Of. Okay.
Adrian Barbeau, Louis. No, he was the bad guy in Octopussy too. The French actor.
Oh, now I don't know if I've ever seen this movie.
Oh, you need to see it. It's Wes Craven, dude.
Oh yeah, it's excellent.
It's excellent.
It's it was the was that post or was that pre-Nightmare? I think it was pre-Nightmare.
Pre-Nightmare
right?
was 81. Yeah, Nightmare was 84.
Yeah, 82. So
82.
82. Yeah, I need to see this. It's on Prime. I gotta watch it.
Yeah, it's worth the effort.
Whoa.
It was like Wes Craven coming off of like doing horror movies for 50 cents.
Yeah.
Like with a 50-cent budget and like, okay, here's money and a property.
Here's $1.50. It's kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah, there's some crazy people in this movie. Oh my god, Don Knight is in it. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you gotta check that one out.
Definitely.
But as you're watching it, just being like, oh yeah, I could see that as a toy. I could see that as a toy. I could see that. Yeah.
Well, Swamp Thing in general. I mean, talk about awesome DC Kenner lines. That Swamp Thing Kenner line
from the animated series.
From the
was outrageously good. I had so many of those too. The glow in the dark Swamp Thing, the one that changed color with heat and light.
The one that broke apart and you could use the string to pull them back together.
Yep, you had the little pull string to the villains in that were great. The vehicles were great. That play set that had like the I think it was actually a reused Star Wars Rancor playset because it had like the foam thing at the top that you could drop the figures through. Like it was like a foam like.
There was
he went in through the swamp.
Yeah. Wasn't there? Was there slime in that one?
Yes, and there was slime in that one as well. Yeah. Those were awesome figures.
Yeah, great character.
Yeah,
I like that kind of green and brown fade one where it was almost like Groot-esque.
Yep.
Like you think of Groot now, but it was Swamp Thing then.
But super, super, super cool. Well, that's the answer to the question there. The final question is the Swamp Thing. Great. Dave, what character would you, if you could snap your fingers and see a new DC character from Spin Master, who would it be?
I kind of got completely thrown off thinking of Swamp Thing now. New DC character going into.
I have an answer if you want to think for a minute.
Yeah, go. Let me think for a minute, because.
So this character has become very popular in recent years, and I think James Gunn announced that it was he was recast with Jason Momoa. But can you imagine with the way that like Spin Master does like the vehicles and the play features and stuff, like a Lobo on his bike?
Mm-hmm.
That would be really dope, especially if we're moving into that 6-inch scale, like, you know, a bike loaded with like play features and like fire stuff and like Lobo is what I'd want to say.
That's a good pull.
I'm gonna go with somebody who didn't get an early one. Azrael. Azrael's always, he's that's a character that always I think looks good as an action figure.
Yeah, it never really gets its due.
So you're thinking, but you're going 90s Nightfall Azrael, right?
Yeah, you either have to go like 90s Nightfall or like Solo right after Azrael. But
Got it.
90s Azbat is like one of my favorite ridiculous designs of a character.
Yeah, that's also great.
And Mullet Superman. I love Mullet Superman. Like
in the regenerative suit.
Who's good from that era, and I don't. Maybe you guys know. I don't know if there've ever been toys for Hitman.
Hitman.
No, I don't think there has. Unless it was like a statue or a DC Direct thing.
Yeah, like a DC Direct thing.
But that would have probably been it.
Yeah, I love that comic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I could look, but I can't think off the top of my head of any figures that were ever made for that. That would be good.
Mm-hmm. That was one of those ones that I had, and I don't know who signed off on me having that, but like, I was allowed to get it.
Well, Mark, this takes us to the end of our chat. We're super excited to talk to you more and see you at Toy Fair in a week's time.
Yeah.
But between now and then, remind our followers, our listeners, where can they stay up to date with Spin Master on social media?
That's a great question. I think there's a Spin Master handle. I think it all goes through there. I don't think we've broken it out by division.
Yep, at Spin Master on Instagram. We'll make sure we get the link to all that in the show notes, in the description, all that good stuff. And like we said at the top, and now we can say it more specifically. Stay tuned for coverage from Toy Fair, from the Spin Master booth, from us, from Adventures
coming up later this week.
Yeah, just a few days from now. Terms of the air date. But Mark, thank you again so much for taking time to be with us tonight.
Of course, guys.
Dave, send us home.
Okay. I'm Batman.
Thank you, dear listener, for hanging out with us today. Subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen, and then tell your friends to do it. Thanks also to Joe Azari, the golden voice behind our intro. Our music is Game Boy Horror by the Zombie Dandies. Find more about them both in our show notes.
Follow us on social media at AIC_podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Stop by and say hi, show us your toy hauls, and share your toy stories. Maybe we'll talk about it in a future episode.
Don't try this at home. Void where prohibited and some assembly required. Each sold separately, not a flying toy. Consult a physician if your toy run exceeds more than 4 hours.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer, Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.